super excited to share with you a tutorial for Uniswap version 2. Okay, so I have done a tutorial on this program before on Uniswap, but this was for Uniswap version 1. All right, and Uniswap 2 is the current version of Uniswap. And if you want to do anything with Uniswap as a developer, then it's really important for you to understand this updated version. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do in this video. And if you don't understand what Uniswap is, don't worry, I'll explain that in this video, and then I'll show you how you can get your hands dirty with Uniswap as a developer by coding against it, basically using the Uniswap protocol to build your own applications to do whatever you want to do. Like flash loans, trading bots, building any kind of app that has a swap mechanism in it. So that's exactly what I'm teaching this video today. All right. So really quick bit of housekeeping before we do that. Mark your calendars because the staking masterclass is going to come up on Wednesday, January 20th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that is next week, I believe. Let me just check the calendar here, make sure that's correct. Yeah, that's next week. Okay. So as always, it's going to be a live event where you can show up and ask questions, watch the masterclass in person. And as always, you're going to get access to that for your part of this program. So just make sure you check back on the Slack channel during that time, on the day of, maybe the day before, something like that, for a join link. Okay, because we'll have a join link to the live stream where you can join and watch this. So this is going to be a masterclass on how to run an Ethereum 2.0 validator. All right, stake your Ether to earn passive income. I'm going to show you how to do it with multiple different strategies so that you don't have to have 32 Ether in order to do it yourself to run a full validator. I'll show you some other ways, like doing a friends and family pool, starting your own staking pool so you can start a business, all kinds of stuff. So mark your calendars for the staking masterclass. This is going to be really awesome. This will be the next masterclass of this program. And I'll see you there. All right, so let's continue on. So let's start with Uniswap because again, we're going to go to Uniswap version 2. Like I said, I did a video about this previously on Uniswap version 1. But if you don't know, what is Uniswap? Well, it's, I would argue, one of the most important, if not the most important dApps on Ethereum right now, okay? So it is a cryptocurrency exchange, all right, which basically allows you to trade cryptocurrencies just from this UI here, okay? So you might not think this looks like a cryptocurrency exchange when you look at it the first time. You might say hey, where's the order book? Where are the candlestick charts? Where's all, it doesn't look like an airplane dashboard or anything like that. It just looks like a simple website with a few buttons, okay? So that's because it works differently than other cryptocurrency exchanges that you might see that have all the fancy, boxes and charts and numbers and buttons like a Bloomberg terminal or something like that, right? So what this does, you just tell it which cryptocurrency you have, so Ether, for example, and which cryptocurrency you want to buy. So let's just pick one, let's just say Lend, okay? So you have ETH, you want to buy some Lend, so you can just say, I want to take one Ether, and so it'll say, okay, well, based on the current price, we'll give you 944 Lend, okay? And vice versa, I could just swap this. So you might notice that there's no charts, right? So there's not somebody here waiting to fill the order. That's because the order gets filled automatically because Uniswap uses something called an automated market maker, okay? So let me show you how that works. Basically, how Uniswap works on the back end is it has it's powered by smart contracts, okay? And when you use this interface, you talk directly to the blockchain, and when you interact with Uniswap protocol, you talk to their smart contracts, which is again just code that runs on the blockchain. And these smart contracts have what's called liquidity pools on the back end, right? And so basically, there are just people who have parked their ETH and then Lend tokens in these things called liquidity pools, okay? So liquidity pools. And basically, when I want to go make this trade, from ETH to Lend tokens, then the smart contracts manage the amount of Ether and the amount of Lend inside of here. So basically, there's a whole lot of ETH and a whole lot of Lend that's available for me to fill this order. So I don't have to wait for a counterparty or another human to purchase my order. I don't put it inside an order book. I can just fill it automatically because there's a whole lot of ETH and a whole lot of Lend on the back end. And Uniswap, these are called liquidity pools. That's where these tokens are parked. And then Uniswap basically manages the price based on the last purchase through the protocol. Okay, so this price will change after I purchase Lend because it's called an automated market maker. Basically, it's going to decide what the next price is based on the last sell price. Okay, we don't have to get crazy in depth on how that works, but basically just notice that Uniswap is a protocol. That's a quick recap, right? Uniswap is a protocol. It's powered by smart contracts. It lives on the blockchain. You access it through a website, and you just use it by saying, I have one cryptocurrency. I want to buy another cryptocurrency. You click swap, and you get exactly what you see here. Okay, so let's talk about how to use Uniswap inside your applications. So we're going to use the Uniswap version 2 API. Again, like I said, I've done a version 1 of this before this program. I want to make an updated version because the interface has changed, and it's good to stay on top of things and learn how the new version works. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do right now. All right, so let's jump into this. So go ahead and download the code solution provided in the description down below. All right, go ahead and unzip that file and open it inside your terminal like this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open this in my text editor. I'm using Sublime Text. People ask me sometimes, what does this mean? The subl dot. I'll have a symlink configured on my computer that lets me, open Sublime Text from the current directory like that, or open any file. For example, the dot just means my current directory. Okay. So if you don't have that configured or you're using a different text editor, that's okay. You can just, go like file open and then open the project that way. Just make sure you unzip it first. All right. So inside here we have a truffle project. Okay, so this truffle project is a little bare bones. Basically, it has a truffle-config file, which basically wires up our connection to the blockchain. That's the bulk of what this does here. All right, we have a package.json file for all of our project dependencies. We have a .env example, which we'll fill out in a second, and then the scripts that actually shows us how to use Uniswap. So we'll get into all this stuff, okay? But the first thing we want to do is install our node packages. So we'll do npm install. This is going to take all the project-specific dependencies from this package.json file here and add them to the project. Okay, so things like Web3, which will be our connection to the blockchain. Truffle, which basically is the framework in here that we're using to build this application. .env to read the secrets that we'll go ahead and create. Okay. So while that's finishing, while it's already finished, we can move on to the next steps. So we need a few different things to do this tutorial. Okay. So you'll see this .env file here. So let's go ahead and clone this. So I'll show you a quick shortcut from your terminal. You can either just create a new file here, or you can do it from your terminal like this. You can do, if you're using a Linux-based machine or Windows subsystem for Linux, you can do cp .env example and just do .env. Okay. And that will copy the .env example file and create a new one inside of here for your project. So what you want to do is fill this out. So you want a private key, okay, for a MetaMask wallet. So I highly recommend using just a test development wallet for this. So basically, we're going to MetaMask, all right, and then switch to an account that you want to use. So again, I highly recommend just using a test account, not a real account that holds money in it. Switch to the Robston test network, okay, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to run this on a test network, so not the main Ethereum network in this channel, or sorry, in this video. And again, select an account that you can use for development that you don't hold real cryptocurrency in because you don't want this private key sitting around anywhere. And you're going to account details and then export private key, okay. Then you're going to copy this and then come back to your .env file and paste in your private key here, in between these quotation marks, okay. So I'm going to look at the code solution again too. You might need 2 private keys. Let's see here. Let's just stick with 1 private key for now. All right. So anyways, yeah, just use one account for now. So put one private key inside of here. All right. And the next thing I want to do is take that account and fund it with some Ether. Okay. So you want to do this with the faucet. So again, this is a test network, so you can get some Ethereum cryptocurrency for free to pay the gas fees and do the swaps. So you can go to the Robson Ethereum faucet, paste in your address here, click send me Ether, and then whenever you do, you should have an account balance pop up here. All right, once you do, you should see some Ether in your wallet here. Okay, so make sure you connect to the Robson test network, because again, we're going to do this on a test network, not the real Ethereum network. All right, so we can just spend this Ether however we want to without any risk of losing any funds. Again, please use a development wallet for this. Don't use a wallet you hold actual money in, because you're going to store your private key inside your project. Okay, so make sure you export your private key through the settings here. Put it back inside your .env file. So I've got my .env example file pulled up here again. So I'm not going to show you my .env file because I just put my private key in there. But you want to put your private key inside of here. The next thing you want to do is add your Infura API key or project ID. So what does that mean? Well, Infura, we need to connect our project to the blockchain. Okay, we do that with the Web3.js library. All right, inside of here, so Web3.js. But this is just the JavaScript library, but we need access to an Ethereum node. That's how we talk to the blockchain. So we can get access to an Ethereum node with Infura, so we don't have to run one ourselves. You guys can go to infura.io, all right, and just click sign up, all right, and that will let you create an account for free. You can just log in, get a project ID, create a new project, get your project ID or your API key, and then paste it back into your actual .env file. Again, I'm showing you this on my .env.example because I want to show you my actual .env file. But your .env file is where you're going to put your actual private key and then your actual Infura project ID, okay? So that's what you need in order to get your project rolling, okay? So next what I want to do is go ahead and go over the code for this, okay? Because there's a lot to do here. All right, so go inside the scripts folder and then go to swap ETH for DAI. All right, I'll go ahead and make this bigger so you can see the code better. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and take out all of this stuff, okay? Because this is really going to be the the code solution. But we'll just say code goes here. All right, I'll go ahead and bump this up so you can see it better. But basically, the code's going to go here. We're going to fill all this out together and explain it line by line. But I'm going to leave some of the other boilerplate setup here because it doesn't make sense to code that out from scratch. So I'm going to explain what everything does, okay? So this is just a script, right? You might have seen some other tutorials where you have a truffle project where you create your own smart contracts inside a contracts directory, right? Maybe you create a React.js app inside of like a front-end directory or something like that. So we don't have to write any Solidity code in this. We do everything in JavaScript and just run this script file on our computer, okay? That's because we're going to talk to Uniswap smart contracts directly. We don't have to create any smart contracts ourselves. We're going to do everything in JavaScript. So this is just going to simulate what you could do inside of your own scripts or inside of your own application that talks to Uniswap. We'll just do it inside of this code sandbox here. That's basically what this is, a little sandbox here. And we can just go to truffle and say, truffle exec scripts, say swap, ETH for DAI -- network, Robson, all right, because we have a lot of different networks configured here inside of our truffle project, but we're going to use the Robson test network for this particular example today, okay? So I'm not going to run this just yet, but that's what we'll do. Basically, we'll just have this file, and all the code for the script's going to get, run here. If you want to read more about truffle scripts, you can just look up like truffle scripts on Google, and should be like the first hit on Truffle's website, okay? So you can read more about the truffle script runner here, all right? You basically just have to have a module exports with a function, okay? And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You just put them in the scripts directory and then run them like I showed you from the command line, all right? So let's get into what we need here. So we need a few things. We need the DAI token, all right? Because what we're going to do is swap Ether for DAI. So we're going to basically do this from Uniswap. We're going to take Ether, and we're going to say DAI. All right, let's look first for DAI. Let's actually connect to the main network. It's on MetaMask. I can show you here. Okay, so let's say DAI. So we're going to swap Ether for DAI, all right? So that's what our script's going to do. So we need to be able to talk to the DAI token smart contract because DAI is an ERC20 token. So it's a smart contract itself, because that's one of the most powerful things about Ethereum is lets you create a cryptocurrency without creating your own blockchain. You can create a new cryptocurrency with a smart contract. That's what an ERC20 token is. That's what DAI is. It's a stable cryptocurrency whose price doesn't change. And we need access to that smart contract API. So basically, we need to create a JavaScript version of that smart contract with Web3.js. That's this right here, so DAI contract, okay? And in order to do that, you need two things. You need the API, which is just like a description of how the smart contract works, like the function names, the function parameters, basically just the interface, a JSON description of that. That's what this API is. And then the address of this smart contract on the test network. So you can see this. So, robson.etherscan.io, all right? You can take those URLs and paste them in here. You can see the actual DAI token smart contract on Robson. Here it is, right? You can see the code if you want to. Go to contract, view the code. And you can even copy this API if you want to. You can just copy it from here. All right, that's exactly where the API came from for this tutorial. All right. And now the next thing you want to do is get the same thing for Uniswap. And we're going to use the Uniswap version 2 router. And that's what this is right here. Okay, so you can see that same thing on Etherscan. I'm not going to go through all that right now, but basically we need the API and address for that. Okay. You can check this out if you want to, just for extra credit. Okay. But this is going to be the main interface that we use in order to implement our swap from ETH to DAI. So next, we define some settings at the top. Okay. So we basically have a quick deadline. That's what Uniswap requires for the swaps. You'll see that in the code. Don't worry if you don't fully understand that. Just know that it's needed in order to perform a swap. We just make sure it's in the future. That's what this is. Moment is the current time. Then add 60 seconds. Okay. And next we have a transaction setting. So anytime you do something on the Ethereum network, you create a transaction. Okay, so we're just going to basically have some defaults here. Say this is our new gas limit. We're going to do 50 GWE gas price. Of course, if you're on the mainnet, that would need to be higher for the testnet network right here. And then here you can use the from account. So it'll be your actual account. So you can go to your MetaMask, okay, and then copy your account and then paste it inside of here. All right. And the value is going to be 0.1 Ether. So we're going to do is swap 0.1 Ether for DAI. Right. So those are all the settings. Now let's actually add the code to implement that swap. Okay. So let's go back to. Let me just look at my notes here. The first thing we want to do is check the balance before we implement any kind of swap. All right. So we'll do that like this. We'll put this line here. So we do is say balance equals await Web3 ETH get balance settings from. So this is going to be the from account. This is our current account we're connected with. And we'll just log to the console. Okay. So we can just go ahead and check our script, make sure it's wired up properly. We can go ahead and just log the value to the console. So we're going to do truffle exec, okay, scripts. So swap ETH for DAI JS -- network Robson. Okay. So I'll just run that and see what happens. If we've connected everything properly, it should work. Okay, there we go. So we can see our Ether balance is 13.7. All right, that should match what we have here inside MetaMask. Let's go to Robson test network. And there you go, 13.77 ETH. That's exactly what we see here in the console. All right. So now, what we're going to do is check the DAI balance before we swap. So I may have some DAI laying around this wallet. We'll see. But basically, here's how you check the Ether balance natively, but we check the DAI balance by talking to the DAI smart contract. So DAI contract, which we created here, again, we have the API and the address. We do DAI contract methods, all right, since it's a smart contract, and then balance of, so this is a function called the smart contract. We check our account here, and we say call, that's what you have to do with Web3 in order to read information from the blockchain for the smart contract, okay? You return balance, and then balance equals Web3 utils from way. We convert it to a human readable Ether amount, right, just like this, just like we did here. All right, we'll run that again. All right, so here's the Ether balance, here's the DAI balance. So it looks like I already have a good amount of DAI in this wallet already. So if you're starting from fresh account, you'll probably see like 0 DAI here. But we're going to swap some Ether, and we should see this balance go up. All right, you'll see it. Basically, we're going to log the Ether balance, log the DAI balance, do the swap, and then basically show the difference. All right. So next, what we want to do is convert the Ether to ETH. Right. So this is where it gets kind of tricky. All right. So basically, in order to make this swap happen, Ether has to get converted to an ERC20 token called ETH, okay? Because basically, what Uniswap version 2 does is it swaps ERC20 tokens. So Ether is the native cryptocurrency of the Ethereum blockchain. It doesn't work like other ERC20 tokens does. It doesn't have functions like an ERC20 token where it's got like approve, all that kind of stuff, okay? So we have to convert Ether to an ERC20 token, and that's what ETH is, okay? So we can get the ETH address like this from the Uniswap exchange, like this. So ETH address equals exchange, contract methods, ETH, because there's a ETH function on there. As they call, okay? And then in order to make the swap inside of Uniswap, you had to create an array of the pairs. So you're going from Ether, or ETH in this case, because you have to wrap it before you do the swap, to DAI. All right. So we're going from this token to this token. So we create an array of those two tokens. All right. And then next we get the token amount. Okay. Basically, this is going to be the expected output, like this. All right. So whenever you go to Uniswap, you say I want to do ETH, and I want to do. Let me just go back to mainnet here, just for example purposes. Okay. Let's say you go from ETH to say here DAI. All right. And you say I want to swap 0.01 ETH for DAI. It's going to say you're going to get 10 DAI back. So this reads from Uniswap contract and gets the estimated return value. So that's exactly what we're doing here. So token amount equals exchange contract methods, get amounts, all right? And you basically pass in these arguments, you get the value, which is 0.1 Ether, right? So like you say, I want to do 0.01 Ether. That's the value here, all right? And then the pair array, okay, so what we created here, and then call, and then it'll show you how many tokens you get back in DAI. So let's just run that. So we're not going to do the swap. This will probably show us a strange number because the price of Ether is like not the same on the test network. So the test network uses different values than the mainnet. So if you might say like, 0.01 ETH we swap for 5 DAI, well, that's different from what you see in the interface here. That's just because the prices aren't the same on the test network as they are on the mainnet. Because again, the price is determined by the automated market maker on the back end of Uniswap, which will be just different on the test network than the mainnet, right? So that's how we get that estimate back with this code right here. So the next thing we want to do is actually perform the swap, all right? So we'll do like this. Basically, you do exchange contract methods, swap ETH for exact tokens. So you put in the token amount, all right? You put in the pair array, the from account, and the deadline that we created at the top. We call send. So that's what you do in Web3 whenever you want to create a transaction. You have to do send. We pass in the settings for the transaction that we created here. All right. And yeah, you'll see the successful swap here on robson.etherscan.io, and it'll show the transaction hash. All right. And the last thing we'll do is check the balances. All right. And then we'll log those to the console. Okay. So let's go ahead and run this and see it happen. All right. So it's log balances and show what's going to happen. It's performing the swap. Wait for that transaction to mine, and hopefully we should see the correct balances after. All right. There we go. Here's a successful transaction. Here's our Ether balance before 7.7. All right. It's gone down here. Here's our DAI balance. Boom. There we go. All right. So let's copy this. Go to Etherscan and paste this in. And boom, there we go. Awesome. So, yeah, that's how this works, okay? So that's how you use Uniswap version 2, all right, and implement a swap. So there's a lot more you can do with Uniswap besides just swapping, one cryptocurrency to the other, okay, just like this example. So the next place I'll point you for homework for sure is the Uniswap documentation, and go to version 2, and look at the different concepts, look at the different things you can do with the documentation, click the smart contract integration, the interface integration. That's basically what we did here. The JavaScript SDK is mostly what we did here under trading, but you can also do more advanced things with pricing, the fetching data, the pair addresses, all that kind of stuff, okay? So that is the introduction to Uniswap version 2. We'll probably see Uniswap version 3 come out in the relatively near future. I would not be surprised because I know Uniswap's working on scaling, a lot of different things, okay? So in the meantime, I hope you like this video. If you're trying to implement Uniswap in your own project, yeah. So as always, if you get stuck, feel free to reach out in the Slack channel. Somebody can help you there. Check out the resources down below to get the code. Any of the other resources that'll be listed there as well. So I hope you like this video. And until next time, thanks for watching Blockchain Mastery University.